Alrighty, hey friends, what's going on? I'm going to be doing a quick little tutorial on how I do my lights, how I set things up, how I take them and edit them, just the general gist of stuff. So hopefully I'll make it brief, but I'll keep it detailed and informative. So first step though is setting up the studio. So we'll take care of that and then we'll get on to lighting. Alright, I'm going to do a little voiceover here because the audio quality in my room is awful, but essentially I'm just going to set up this backdrop here. This is literally a piece of cloth that I bought from Joann's and I've stapled to a wooden dowel, so I'm trying to keep it cheap here. But essentially it looks just as good as any other thing you'd buy for $100 or so because it's just a white backdrop. Anyway though, I'm going to set up my lights here too. I'm going to do a quick demonstration just with the blue and the orange hue of the lights. But essentially, this is how my studio looks. It's really nothing special, but it matters more so how you photograph it and less about how much money you've put into it. Alrighty, so as you can see, I have all the studio lights set up. The next step, at least in my process, is I think conceptually I go through and try and figure out with all the props I have or with all the things I'm doing, what it is that I'm trying to create. Because as you know, in art school, your main goal is to make your teachers happy. No, wait. It's to make art and to make work that speaks to you and to others. Don't know why I brought up that teacher's part. Anyway, so aside from the conceptual stuff, which is all on you to create, it's all on you, boo, I believe in you. The next step is lighting and how to do that. So let's go to that. All right, for the studio, we have everything set up. I'm sorry for the audio quality because I don't have a microphone and we are a low budget setup. You can tell by the backdrop and my face and everything, low budget. Anyway, so getting into it, we're gonna just start with the color, warmth, and coolness of the temperatures of the lights. I have two lights here, not because I'm cheating the project, but because I'm trying to give a demonstration on warmth. This light right here, this is somewhere around 6,000 Kelvin. It's a much cooler light, so if I turn this other one off, you'll see, oh wow, it's a very blue light. And if I turn this one on, which is closer to 32 Kelvin, or 3200, not 32, 3200, you can see it's much warmer light. So the key when photographing these two is to adjust your white balance to match the number that is listed on the bulb. Now, if I were to zoom in on the bulb here, you can see that a lot of bulbs, not all bulbs, but a lot of bulbs actually have the temperature on them, making it a lot easier for you to figure out. So with this warm bulb here, if I go in and I take my photo, I'm going to adjust my white balance to 3200. Cool. 3200. We'll throw something in here. Let's throw this water bottle. Wow, how original. Throw that water bottle in there, take the photo, and it's not well exposed, but the point is you can see here that we have a photo that is, for all intents and purposes, a neutral light. Now, the next photo we're going to take is with this blue light. Now, I'm going to definitely have to increase ISO, lengthen the shutter, something here, because it's so much darker. Anyway, take that photo. If I show you, I didn't adjust the white balance there, so you can see this is going to look a lot more blue, whereas if I adjust for the 6200, I think was, could have been 67. We'll just go with 65. Take that photo, and you can see we have a much, much more neutral white here. Cool, so now the next step is getting the props in there. We're gonna remove this blue light because it is just way, way, way too dim. And we're gonna use this more orange hued incandescent. It's also a lot hotter. My hands are already on fire, as you can clearly see from, no, I'm kidding. Anyway, so we're gonna get set up. I'm just gonna run through a few ideas I had, talk through maybe some of my backlighting and my front lighting. I might not film all of this because I'm going to be doing quite a bit of setup, but I'll just go through all the images I take and kind of the ideas I have behind them. Alright, so I'm just going to get into all the photographs I've been taking. For this first image that I have here, essentially I was just going for something very simple. This is a front lit one. There's nothing special when it comes to the lighting. I just had my light right above my camera, right on the subject matter here. Conceptually, it's basically just looking at the items as they are. As a whole, my conceptual project, I'll get more into that during class because that's what we're supposed to talk about, but it's just contrasting found waste from man-made sources versus found waste that's naturally generated. So essentially, my whole project is just contrasting those two things. But a good test, and I'll go through my images really quickly just to give you a feeling. A good test to do is to boost the vibrance and the saturation, because that will really tell you if your image is well balanced. Now, yes, you can now really see that this sheet is very old because I've used it for quite a few years, so it is gross. Anyway, probably should wash that. But point is, if you do that, you can really see if your balance is on or off. But at this point, if you look at me adjusting temperature, like, I'm pretty much spot on. It would have been harder for me to get any more black or any more orange or blue from where I was. And that's because I was matching the light source with my camera. Now, I'm going to quickly just go through the rest of them. This is backlit. I was going for kind of silhouette. Once again, boosting vibrance, boosting saturation. You don't get much of that, only because, and this is an issue on my part, you do have some of the shadows that are really, really blown out. Now, I could boost them up, make it a little bit nicer, but that removes the goal I was going for, which is the silhouette. I really wanted to give this industrial feeling with this human waste. Maybe not human waste, but man-made waste. Next photos, once again, top lighting. This is the image I've chosen. I might have to crop it in just a tiny bit. But this top lighting is supposed to be almost like making statues out of these. So I have this shadow below them and the light from above them. And it's, once again, creating just this ambiance of almost like a glorification of the waste and a glorification of the plants. But there's also somewhat of an irony here because I've spray painted these things, so now none of them are biodegradable. Whereas the plants used to be biodegradable and the man-made waste weren't. Now they both aren't. So it's almost making beauty, but also making more waste in the process. I don't know, I'll crop this in. Anyway, I'll edit my photos off camera. All right, next photo. This is me attempting to do bottom lighting. Now, this is a little bit challenging, only because I don't have any real way to put these out on an elevated surface. So unfortunately, these are just on the ground, and I'm using my light right below them as close as I can get to try and give that feeling of bottom lighting. And the shadows play into that, and I think the shadows are essential. Now, I could boost the exposure and then put the contrast up to give more of that feeling, but I personally like it being a little bit more muted, just because when it comes to the context of it all, this is supposed to be like a garden, and it's not supposed to be very intense. And you have this garden of things rising up, garden of plants rising up from the trash. But in essence, it's also another mockery because it's all trash at this point because I've spray painted it. Going on to the next ones. Once again, I've been really trying to tie in the concepts to each image, and then using the spray painted whites and blacks to give that added depth. I'll try and keep on moving though. Let's see. So these ones I really liked, and I wasn't sure which one I wanted to settle with. Once again, my painting job wasn't phenomenal, as you can see right there. But with this, I was going with high contrast. I was really playing with textures here and showing just the grittiness of it all. I really like these, but I don't know if they show contrast as much, or at least hard lighting. Now, I could do this, and that suddenly speaks to hard lighting. You have really, really bright lights up here, really dark shadows down here. But then again, I'm editing that. A better example, in my opinion, of the hard lighting or the, high contrast light is like this right here, because I was really playing with texture. And you can see that once I zoom in, you have all the ridges here and these like weird little textures coming from all the plants. So for me, this, or maybe even this one right here, if I boost the shadows just a tiny bit, you get more of that high contrast feeling, and it mixes with everything. This is really speaking to that. This is all just a bunch of trash. This is all waste. Well, this is more beautiful. I would look at this and say, this is looking at sculpture. I would look at this and say, that's just a bunch of trash he's thrown down somewhere. And to contrast that directly, I've done these right here. This is supposed to be more smooth. I only got one of these because I felt it was really challenging. Ooh, what's that? Oh no, I have some kind of color in there. I guess I'll have to crop it. Anyway, trying to keep this brief, I'm sorry. Going in here, I was playing with a more soft lighting. You just have these very basic soft shapes that are coming out, and it's trying to show that there is a complementary aspect to these two, that they're all just things that I've found. While they are both waste and they are both beautiful, they are just things that exist. And the last one, which was the, I don't even, it was like varying lights. I just played around with setting stuff up. Unfortunately, I have this like weird orange band as a stain on my thing, but hopefully it won't be noticed. I did make another edit here, but it is technically desaturation. Anyway, point being, I did play around with it, and I do have some that aren't perfect that I might have to go and reshoot, but for the sake of this video, I am just trying to show you guys what I did, how I did it. I definitely will think about doing some reshoots and some different perspectives, but I've just been trying to get this out for you all to see. I'll edit this photo real quick too, just to show you what I'm thinking when I edit these. But essentially, I look at the histogram. The shadows are a little bit low, but it's not the worst thing. But this kind of makes it pop here. Bring those highlights down just a tiny bit to kind of flatten out the image. Yeah, pull that contrast up just the tiniest bit. That does make this more orange. Pretend that orange isn't there for the sake of the edit. And that's about it. I might do a tiny crop right here and just pull this in just a tiny bit. Just to give that more balance and focus right here on this kind of central focal point. But other than that, that would be the photo. Now imagine it was black and white. This is cheating. Don't do this. But that is what I would hope it would look like. It doesn't, but that's just this stain here. Some of these would definitely look a lot more like that. Where if I did that same process, this one I'm trying to have soft lighting, so obviously contrast down, shadows up, and then highlights down. Now you get that much softer lighting. But there's this blue in here. Yeah, I need to reshoot some of these. Anyway, you get the point. That's been my process. That's been what I do. All right, thanks for watching this. I hope you got something out of it. I did put quite a few hours into this. Now I was working on the project, but I did spend some time to make this video, so hopefully it helps at least one person feel like they're more confident in their project. Anyway, though, I think I did everything correctly. I'm definitely going to have to do some reshoots, but that's just a general process of me getting through this project, and I hope that it helps you. Anyway, please don't subscribe to this channel. Please don't watch any of their videos. It's kind of an embarrassment. It's just somewhere to throw this stuff up. But anyway, thank you so much, and I'll see you in critique.